No, those
Isn't it bringing back? Isn't it taking us back to the era of stigma that now when someone comes out to say I'm HIV positive, then everyone will think they're about to die. So they'll see you as someone who is living in their last days, and so there will be somehow some sort of discrimination because they don't want to engage you a lot in a lot of things because they know you're dying the next day.
If you look at now the interventions we do as an organization, we will, if you're negative, we will know that you're negative, and if you're positive, we shall know that you're positive. But one of the most important thing is that find that stigma and discrimination is still there within our communities where we come from, and every time this young person comes and says HIV positive, the community will automatically shy away. I remember one person recently was like, Derek, I would like you to help me and support me on how can I disclose to my parents. And I'm like, are you right now comfortable to disclose to the parents? And he was like, yes. So go have a meal with your parents, then you disclose. So this young person went and sat with the parents. They had a very good meal. Then he disclosed. But the good news, the parents accepted, and they're now supporting. If you disclose, it also helps. Okay. But disclosing, it also comes with it's advantage and disadvantages. Whereby if you're not ready to disclose, automatically, that's when the stigma. If this person you're disclosing to is not empowered enough or has less information about HIV, you find that this person will disclose you, will automatically discriminate you. But I'll give you a very live example to myself. By the time they disclosed to me that I was HIV positive, I remember my parents were like, okay, so by the time I was, I think 15, then finished my education, my O-level, then came to Ginger, started doing too much of the drugs and what and what. But the counselor who took me through that comprehensive counseling made me accept my status, and I was like, okay, so let me get back on that, and let me get back on track and move on with life. And when I disclosed to my guardian, he was like, it's fine. That's how life is. So they started supporting me from the day I disclosed to my guardian, and ever since then, like, my guardian has been very supportive. And right now I'm 30, but they still call me to remind me, have you taken drugs? Which is okay, fine. Right now it's like someone cannot call me to remind me, but he's taking the responsibility because they know, okay, Derek is around Kampala, he's staying alone, but he needs someone to do it, to keep him reminding. But as a family, it has to take all the initiatives to support. As a community, they have to take the initiative to support. And as different people have a role to play.
Now, as you talk about a family, we realize that it's unfortunate that it's a few families that are willing to walk this journey with those that have disclosed. So unfortunate that one of the reasons as to why young people shy away, not that they are not ready to disclose, they really want to disclose, but they fear the disadvantages you talked about. One, they'll be accused of very many things. Two, sometimes we tend to say, of course, these are African parents. An African parent will react in another way. It's a few probably that are civilized that can embrace it and acknowledge the fact that my child has stood confidently to disclose, or this person has stood confidently to disclose their status, so I should walk this journey with them. Now that you said everyone has a role to play, we are talking about young people, but it is important that even the parents or the guardians or the caretakers also pay attention to this, because in the end, very many young people out there, I believe you have them that have disclosed to you, but they're still living in fear. They're still living in self-denial. They're still, up to now, they have failed to admit their status. Why? Because of the fears that will come by their disclosure. So we are taking a short commercial break, but when we return, we are continuing with quite a number of things that we need to discuss pertaining this talk. Today, we are looking at the young people and HIV and what should be done as per this struggle we are in. Stick with us.
Moses, Ramesses, you grew up together, close as brothers.
Remember their prophecy. Samson, chosen by the living God.
You dare to defy me? Let the furnace be heated sevenfold. Bind them and cast them into the fire.
It begins.
Take the ark!
For God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes should not perish but have eternal life.
Because once Christ warns about something, it calls for attention as believers. When God warns us about something, it means that we are susceptible to it.
Finally, be strong in the Lord and in the strength of his might. Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the schemes of the devil.
One episode at a time. This is the Family Hour, Church of Uganda Family TV. Edrine Osteen Mukalazi is my name. Welcome back from that commercial break. We are looking at HIV, AIDS, and the young people. Much as we are talking about the young people, but you who is old, at one time you were young. So, this, like I said, this topic is cross-cutting, and what is important in this is what can be done. Remember, we've on this very show, on this very day, Tuesday, where we discuss family health. The whole of this month, we've been working a journey with Uganda AIDS Commission and UNAIDS, and the message has been clear. Everyone has a role to play. And because the theme for this year, according to UNAIDS, is let communities lead. And when you talk about communities, where you are is that small community. You can start with what you can. But in leading, one of the things we are also fronting is fighting stigma. Because I believe one of the reasons as to why young people are actually shunning away from disclosing to people, they fear a lot of this stigmatized, being isolated, being, people fear to associate with them, they fear to trust them with, a lot of things. So we should really speak against stigma. Fide Bongo Lutaya's song says, today it's me. Tomorrow it's someone else. So that someone else might be you. How about if you are stigmatized the very way you are stigmatizing someone? So because you do not want to imagine how it feels to be isolated, to be deassociated with, to be told all those sorts of rude words, then speak hope into someone's life. Like he has said, our guest today, who is Derek, the communications and PRO of UNYPA, he has said that up to now, the Guardian checks on and says, hey, Derek, have you taken your drug? They walk with him, they encourage him. So Derek, we are looking at the major social challenges, because at least at the Uganda network of young people living with HIV AIDS, you might be receiving very many of these reports of what young people go through. What are some of the social challenges that they encounter, especially those that have openly come out to disclose their status? And probably they come out for a good cause, they come out to share their stories, they come out to help someone else walk safely. But then what comes alongside their disclosure, alongside their journeys as they come out, as they walk this journey?
So if you look at the whole thing, and just like to give you a very good example, now I love using myself as an example. When I first disclosed, and people used to say, Alimba. But still the stigma, you still face the stigma, the discrimination from the community.
So the denial is a stigma, not actually that they are denying, but it is actually associated with stigma.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because me coming out and sharing myself living with HIV, but still someone is like, fine, he doesn't look like. So he's already stigmatizing me, because me already know my HIV status, but for you do not know. Then if we move away from, okay, I've known my HIV status and I've disclosed, but there's also this one who hasn't disclosed. We have a big challenge of the pill burden. The thing that I shared earlier, which is taking today, then you give yourself some little holiday, then again you come back, then give yourself a little holiday, then you come back and take. It's a big challenge right now. If you look at now the trends that we have, this young person akube chibala from Monday to Monday, then the salary comes, then he's in the bar, the whole after
this
the bar.
is Saturday week.
So you're in the bar, you're taking different cocktails of whatever kind of drinks. Then on top of that, you're using other kinds of drugs. Trust me, you fail to take your medicine, because I've gone through it. I know what it means. So there's there's also another challenge whereby the families or the communities are not supporting. Whereby I remember when I was still at school, and my parents disclosed to the school, and the school was okay. It was like helping me for the school to help me to study. But if the school is not if the school is not ready to accommodate me, then automatically that school has failed. Because when I was still in school, I remember when they disclosed to them, I was given a separate chair from the class, whereby I would sit alone and go through the subjects that have the day, like a whole term. And it used to challenge me. By the time I came back, I was like, Dad, can we change to another school? And he was like, no, that school is better, because me throughout I've never been in a boarding school. So it was purely there. But to tell you the fact, I would only study in a term. I only study like 1 month. Then the rest of the months I'll be at home, because I was tired of school. But with the support from the friends, I would go back to school simply because the friends used to support me, but the school itself never supported me. So if the community we are does not support people living with HIV, or a young person living with HIV, automatically that young person is going to fail. And that's why we shall have this young person living medication, and the ending result will be death. But there are so many other social challenges, like now, like at my age, if I'm not working and I need to feed myself, I need to cater for myself, I need to dress up nicely like you, then also it will challenge me as a person, as a young person living with HIV. Because at the end of the day, I also need to wear that expensive perfume and hug someone, and someone feels like, hey, but you'll find that we need much more the community, and we thank God that this year theme, it's about the community, not because the other themes have been young people coming together, but this time around the community. So we need to sit down and now start agreeing on basically what we need to do.
Well, it is important. Actually, you reminded me, you talked about a school. Now, we studied in a school that had a victim. We were through with this person, and the school didn't disclose. In fact, the school didn't let anybody know. Each time she was supposed to go for her medication, no one would even know she's going for medication. Because I'm going home briefly. There is something I work on every end of month, and that is the message. That was the message at school. Until when the mother came, I think this girl delayed to go back for around 2 days. So she was supposed to go on Wednesday. She didn't. So on Friday, the mother comes for her. And she's like, Goli wano, nakugamba ojja kufa otajja kukima ddagala. And this was the first time we all hear about this. But of course, when she went home, she didn't come back. She didn't come back. Up to now, we don't know her whereabouts. I'm not even sure that she's still alive.
If a school setting does not really, those days back when you used to have those talking messages in the environment.
Yes.
What. It was until when there are sometimes when you sit in those high level committees at the Uganda AIDS Commission, and you find messagings that are the messages that are not clear, and you'll be like, no, this message is not clear for us as young people. And by the time I was talking with someone with from the Ministry of Education, and I'm like, nah, but this message, it has been there for long, AIDS kills, and some of us now we're even scared of AIDS. Is there a way of trimming it to the way we understand it? And thank God that they trimmed the message to the
recent, I went to a school, and they had now twisted it. Okay, they had 3 different messages, but all addressing the same thing. One was, even virgins can be positive. Then the other one, don't discriminate HIV/AIDS victims. Then the other one was, I think, I don't remember the third one, but at the front they say even the virgins can be positive. So that was the first message. You see all the others at the other side. But as you enter the school, this is the first message that welcomes you.
Yeah, because if you look at the messagings right now, and there's a campaign I'm on with a few other colleagues of mine, but it's an online campaign whereby we are sensitizing young people to take up on to test, then those found HIV positive to be enrolled on medication, then also those ones who are negative to stay negative. But I tell you, you put up something on Twitter and you'll be like, you'll get shocked. And I've been because this colleague of mine usually posted the links for the Twitter site, then other colleagues post the one for Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and you'll find that people are completely green about HIV.
Exactly.
And I was so amazed that this person, I just checked the profile, the person is highly profiled within the country, but he was so green. But nevertheless, we are still doing our job and making sure that people get to know the real information about HIV. And now we think that the HIV has been changing its shape, but also the science. The science people are not resting. Those days back, people used to take around 7 pills, 8 pills, 14 pills, but currently right now, people are taking 1 pill, which is a good one. And also the testing for HIV to know your HIV status has changed. Those days they would prick, but nowadays it's just a matter of swapping in the mouth. Then also the pricking nowadays is also a bit easy. You can do it from the comfort of from your home or in your office. Yeah.
Well, I think my other concern is about, like I said earlier as I was introducing this topic, that young people, much as all this happens, much as messages have been put up there, much as we celebrate the World AIDS Day in Uganda every day, messages have been drawn. We have had this talk, I think this is the 5th show, the whole of this month, talking about the same. But we still have young people who seem not bothered at all about all this that is happening. I'll give you an example. I got an opportunity to go to those 2 places where they say the first victims came from. That is Kasenselo landing site and Lukunyu landing site. They are close to each other, only that for the other you first cross through the lake. I crossed through the lake. I was there for around 4 or 5 days, and around actually 5 days. I took a study on how the young people behave, the stories, the boat stories when you sit in the boat as you're sailing on the water. What do these young people think about, all this? And I realized that even when their places are spotted as the first places, of course, we don't say that up to now they still have the same preferences, but you realize that still there are young people who don't seem bothered about HIV/AIDS. Someone at one time actually asked us, we were discussing about the winds underwater, and said, abantu bafa akabenje ng'onyumya bino mbu siriimu mbu nze nsobola okwekuuma, this was the statement, nsobola okwekuuma nesifuna siriimu nengwa mazzi nenfa. And this is the mind that these people still have, that you might protect yourself against HIV/AIDS, but then you drown in the waters and you die. So are there any interventions that you are taking on together with, of course, the stakeholders like Uganda AIDS Commission and all those other stakeholders that you work with, that are there any interventions to go back to the grounds and sensitize the young people, especially on such places, because it is known that at landing sites, islands, those places are really terrible, that people there still believe that HIV is witchcraft. Someone has signs of HIV, but they think it is witchcraft, so they are taken to this shrine, to the other shrine, until when they die.
So as an organization, we have been doing a couple of interventions, and if you may see, when I started the beauty pageant, the UNYPA summit, the different community dialogues, the flash mobs within the communities. So those are the interventions that we do. And it was, I think, in April, May, when the Uganda AIDS Commission was commemorating the Candlelight Day.
Yes.
So we did a flash mob, and we sensitized people around the Kamocha area, and people were like, but what the condom. But the different interventions, as for us as UNYPA, what we do is we do the Y Plus Beauty Pageant, and we do not only just do it within Kampala, because still Kampala, it is a central where we still do the editions, but still we move to different districts, like regions. So in a region, we select one district that is highly burdened by HIV. So with that district, then we start making preparations, we mobilize young people, we do community dialogues, then we sensitize the community, then we do the editions. So probably maybe next year we have to again to see which district is highly burdened, and we select, then we move to those districts. So basically our preparation start from we start now planning from April onwards. So by the time we get into September, we have already gotten the districts. October is when we started the fully implementation of the beauty pageant. Then from the whole of October editions, then November we bring all those ones that have been that have gone through the region editions, the winners. We put them in one week boot camp, then they proceed for the national level. Same as the Y Plus Summit. The Y Plus Summit, we just mobilize each year. We usually have a total of 350, 450 young people, both living and affected with HIV. We bring them together and the dialogue. So they share different challenges they are having at their different health facilities. So if we have a project or somewhere, that's when we move into districts, having those interventions. And this year I think we're supposed to do the debates for the schools, but they are centered around HIV and stigma around schools. And we did the inceptional meetings, then we did a few interventions, but next year that is part of something that we are geared up for, to start with the schools, because the school has been left out in terms of how do they handle these young people living with HIV. How are they supposed to address, even now, right now, the language changed around HIV, because nowadays, back the people used to say these are victims. So now it changed to people living with HIV, or a young person living with HIV, young people living with HIV. So we no longer use the victim or radewa kauka, such words are very discriminatory when someone gets to to hear them. So as for interventions for us as UNYPA, that's basically what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You talked about the language. I think as we talk about stigma, what just to be sure, just we don't want to error. We can help someone out there who is still stuck. But for instance, I'll give you a common phrase. Where they say onomuradde wa mukenenya, and in a sense, when you try to follow up with the word mukenenya, that is something that makes someone so skinny, and so, and of course, when someone looks at people these days, they're no longer in that shape. But then someone says, onomuradde wa mukenenya, and then the backbiting. Such things. So, which language can someone use to address people that is not offensive in a sense? Because sometimes someone might speak out a word which stigmatizes, but ignorantly.
So one thing is we need to break away that whole thing of a victim. Those things, even to my side, if someone just uttered the word, I feel like because they will be. So by the best words, a person living with HIV, people living with HIV, if it's a group, a young person living with HIV, or young people living with HIV. But those are the words in the dictionary, and we are trying a way to phase away with the other words, because if you come back again because there's where I was somewhere, and someone was like, you don't need to call us people with impairment, and I'm like, but that's the word. We are called people with disability. That's all. And I'm
people living with disabilities.
Disability. Okay. So the language itself, it can contribute to the stigma and discrimination. But if you come back to HIV, people living with HIV, or a person living with HIV, and we do not add the other one of the one of the AIDS.
The other
we don't add because if someone is on medication, it's just a person living with HIV.
Okay.
So if this person is not on medication and has advanced to the AIDS stage, that's when they add in the AIDS element. But if you come back to this side, it's just purely a person living with HIV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not stroking it, HIV stroke AIDS.
Yeah.
Like the primary school way. Okay. As we wind up this discussion, what take-home message do you have for the fellow young people out there? I know World AIDS Day is on this week on Friday. The celebrations are going to be in Rakai. The theme is let communities lead. As you dealing with young people and having seen all these challenges, all these things that young people, and having had your successful story, what message do you have for the young people out there as we commemorate the World AIDS Day? What message should they take in this holiday? And probably at the end, you'll send out greetings to the people out there.
One thing I would let me first appreciate the Uganda AIDS Commission, because it has been there for us, and it has supported us in different interventions. And one key message I have for that young person living with HIV out there who will be watching this show, one, you need to adhere well to your medication, and also praying is very important, and also you have to eat well. And for that one who is negative, make sure that you stay negative, but also it's always important to know your HIV status, because you'll never get to know your HIV status until you have tested. Never test with your eyes. Go to the facility and test and know your HIV status. To my fellow young people living with HIV that we serve, tomorrow it is we are celebrating 20 years of success, and we shall be at our Hotel Africana. And we call Family TV to join us tomorrow so that you can get the touch and the feel of the achievements that we have made so far in the 20 years of service. And to everyone who is watching, always know your HIV status because it's always important.
Thank you so much. What time is the event starting?
The event is starting at 2.
Okay.
And it will end by 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that is lunch there? I know when you talk about lunch, Brinko will be excited.
Yeah, lunch is always there.
Okay. So Brinko, please make sure you go. But we shall all be part of this celebration so that we can have a similar message. Thank you so much for watching this particular show, and thank you so much for working with us this journey where we started with, which we've worked with Uganda AIDS Commission and UN AIDS. Thank you so much. We still keep the message, let communities lead, but we still also say that say no to stigma. Say no to stigma. Edrine, Osteen, Mukalazi is my name. Just to remind you, tomorrow in the morning, Equity Bank will be hosting the Bishop of Namirembe, Right Reverend Wilberforce Chitiolu Walida. He will be bidding farewell to Equity Bank, but also he'll have a service with their fellowship. So I say this to remind you that we shall have this streamed live on Church of Uganda Family TV from 7 to 9. Keep it here. Therefore, that will be our Good Morning Family. But later on, issues at hand will show up. Good night. God bless you.
Family Hour, empowering families one episode at a time. Together, we build strong, healthy, and thriving families with our daily dose of inspiration and expert insights on topics that matter, like